Good evening, friends. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever gone to bed worried about money? That sinking feeling in your stomach, bills on the table, thoughts spinning at night? We've all been there. But what if I told you that the words you whisper before sleep could change everything? Yes, tonight. Florence Scovel Shinn, the great metaphysical teacher, believed that your words are not just sounds. They are commands, keys. They set the stage for what tomorrow brings. She said, "Your word is your wand. And tonight, I'm going to hand you a wand." Think about this. When a farmer plants seeds, he doesn't toss them carelessly into the soil. He chooses carefully. He plants what he wants to harvest. Yet every night, before bed, many of us plant seeds of fear. I can't afford it. Money never stays with me. I'll always struggle. And then we wonder, why do weeds keep growing? But imagine if you switched those seeds. Imagine if tonight, before you close your eyes, you whispered, "Unexpected money comes to me easily. I am aligned with divine abundance." Simple. Clear. A seed of prosperity. Now you might be thinking, can words really change my bank account? Let me share a story. A woman I worked with was drowning in debt. Every night, she would cry herself to sleep. Then she discovered Florence Shinn's teachings. She decided to replace her nightly fears with this affirmation. God is my instant supply. All that is mine by divine right now flows to me. She said it every night. Within weeks, unexpected checks began arriving. A forgotten refund. A bonus from work. Opportunities she never imagined. Coincidence? Maybe. But as she believed differently, she acted differently. And money began to flow. You see, your subconscious mind is like a powerful servant. It doesn't argue. It obeys. If you tell it you are broke, it will prove you right. But if you tell it you are abundant, it will open doors you didn't even know existed. So tonight, before you drift into sleep, I want you to say this. I release all fear of money. I welcome abundance. Wealth flows to me while I sleep. Say it with conviction. Say it as if it's already true. Because in that moment, you are planting a new seed. And here's the exciting part. Once you start to believe, you will begin to notice shifts. The parking ticket gets cancelled. The friend suddenly pays back an old debt. The job offer arrives. Why? Because you no longer push money away with fear. You welcome it. Friends, money is not the enemy. It is simply energy. And like all energy, it flows where it is invited. So tonight, invite it. Not with desperation, but with faith. With power. With words that create worlds. Let me leave you with Florence Shinn's wisdom. There is no such thing as lack, only lack of faith. So tonight, say the words. Plant the seed. And watch how quickly life surprises you. Because abundance is not coming. It's already here. Waiting for you to call it by name. Thank you. Following are the key points you will listen in this video. Your words are powerful commands to your subconscious mind. Most people unknowingly plant seeds of lack before sleep. Replace fear-based thoughts with prosperity affirmations. The subconscious mind works overnight to align reality with belief. Faith and expectation invite money, fear and doubt push it away. Abundance is already around you, your words unlock it. Your words are powerful commands to your subconscious mind. And yet, most of us treat words as if they're just noise. We think we're simply talking, simply venting, simply repeating what feels true in the moment. But what if I told you that every word you speak, especially the ones you repeat again and again, are shaping your tomorrow? Not in some vague, mystical way, but in a very real, tangible, practical way. Because words are more than just sounds in the air. They are seeds. And the soil they fall into is your subconscious mind. Think about the subconscious for a moment. It's like a faithful servant who never questions orders. If you tell it I am always broke, it doesn't stop to argue. It doesn't say, wait, are you sure about that? Wouldn't you rather be wealthy? No. It takes the command literally, stamps it as truth, and then gets to work making sure your life reflects that belief. On the other hand, if you tell it, I am open to receiving unexpected money, It begins rearranging opportunities, connections, and even your own awareness, so that what you've declared can manifest. The subconscious is like the most powerful computer, but it has no filter of its own. It doesn't know the difference between a joke, a complaint, or a deep affirmation. It only hears the command and programs reality accordingly. Florence Scovel Shinn often said, "Your word is your wand." Just imagine that for a moment. You are carrying around a magic wand every single day, and with every phrase you speak, you are casting a spell. Some of those spells build you up, open doors, and call in blessings. Others, sadly most, close doors, build walls, and invite scarcity. It's not that the universe is against us. It's that we are commanding it, unknowingly, to bring us more of what we don't want. Picture two people, side by side. Both are struggling financially. The first one says every morning, "I can't catch a break. Life is unfair. Money never stays with me." The second one, facing the same bills, the same challenges, whispers instead, "I am guided to my right opportunities. Money finds me in perfect ways. I am provided for." Now ask yourself, which one of them is more likely to notice an overlooked opportunity? Which one will have the courage to apply for that better job, to ask for a raise, or to step into a new idea? Which one is already, through words, planting hope instead of despair? It's not about wishful thinking. It's about directing the mind to see possibilities instead of walls. The subconscious is always listening, especially in the quiet moments when you don't even realize you're speaking to yourself. Have you ever caught yourself muttering under your breath after opening a bill? "I'll never get ahead." Or maybe while scrolling online, seeing others succeed, you sigh and whisper, "That's not for people like me." Those tiny phrases slip past your conscious guard and sink deep into the soil of the subconscious. And just like a farmer doesn't plant a seed of corn and expect roses, you cannot plant seeds of lack and expect abundance. One man once told me that he grew up hearing his father repeat, "We are poor, but at least we are honest." Night after night, year after year, he absorbed those words as truth. And guess what? He grew up to live the same pattern. No matter how much money came his way, it seemed to vanish. He had tied his identity to those words, to that story. It wasn't until he stumbled on Shinn's work and began replacing that family phrase with, "I prosper in honesty, and money flows freely to me," that things began to shift. He didn't become a millionaire overnight, but he noticed his business grew steadily, his savings stayed put, and opportunities arrived that he would have dismissed before. The words cracked open a door that had been sealed by generations of lack. The Bible says, "Life and death are in the power of the tongue." That's not just poetic language, it's law. Words carry vibration. Think about it. When someone tells you, "You're hopeless," it feels heavy, doesn't it? It's almost like the body itself reacts. Shoulders drop, energy lowers, breath tightens. But when someone looks you in the eye and says, "I believe in you. You're capable. You've got this," something happens inside. The chest lifts, the face brightens, there's a spark. If another person's words can create that reaction in you, imagine what your own words are doing when you repeat them night after night, year after year. Florence Shinn told the story of a woman who desperately needed money. She was told to speak aloud daily, "Infinite Spirit, open the way for my immediate supply. Let all that is mine by divine right now reach me." She did it faithfully, and soon after, she received an inheritance she hadn't expected, exactly the amount she needed. Now some might brush that off as coincidence. But isn't it strange how often coincidences happen to those who speak words of faith, expectation, and abundance? It's not magic in the sense of pulling a rabbit out of a hat. It's the magic of alignment. When your words align with your desires instead of your fears, your subconscious begins opening your eyes to the paths that were already there. Let's make it practical. Say you're looking for money to pay off a debt. If you keep repeating, "I'll never get out of this hole," your subconscious will help you notice all the ways you're stuck. You'll scroll past the side job that could have covered a payment. You'll ignore the friend who casually mentioned a business opportunity. Your brain, trained by your words, has filtered them out as irrelevant. But if, instead, you declare, "I am finding new ways every day to pay this off. I am capable. Money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways," your subconscious begins scanning differently. Suddenly that same side job looks possible. That same friend's comment catches your attention. You take actions you never would have before, because your words gave your mind a new assignment. Children do this naturally. A child will say, "When I grow up, I'm going to be rich." They declare it with boldness, without hesitation. And have you noticed how often children play games of pretending? They grab a toy cash register and shout, "I'm a shopkeeper," or line up chairs and say, "I'm flying to Paris." They believe it while they play. And somehow, in that belief, they're training their subconscious to see themselves as powerful creators. But as adults, we trade that boldness for realism. We repeat, "I can't afford that," more often than we say, "I will find a way." And then we wonder why the childlike magic fades. There's a reason so many traditions emphasize prayer, chanting, affirmations. It's not empty ritual. It's a way of directing the subconscious with words until those words shape reality. Even science is catching up. Neuroscience tells us that the brain creates neural pathways through repetition. What you say repeatedly literally wires your brain to believe and behave accordingly. In other words, you become your words. So tonight, as you lie down to sleep, remember, the last words you speak are the first seeds your subconscious will tend to as you rest. Would you rather it water weeds of lack, or nourish the sprouts of abundance? Would you rather wake up tomorrow already aligned with scarcity, or aligned with opportunity? The choice is not in your bank account tonight, it's in your mouth, in your words, in your declaration of truth. And if you feel resistance, if a part of you whispers, "But it's not true yet," remember this. Words are not about describing what already is. They are about creating what can be. A farmer doesn't wait for corn to grow before planting corn seeds. He plants in faith. You are planting tonight, whether you realize it or not. So plant with intention. Because your words are not just sounds. They are the blueprint of your future, the commands to your subconscious, the magic spells that shape the life you will step into tomorrow. Now that you understand the power of words, the next question is, what exactly should you say tonight before bed? What words can become the seed of a new reality? Florence Scovel Shinn taught that affirmations are not mere positive phrases. They are commands to the subconscious. They are statements of truth spoken in advance. She often said, "You must act as if you already are what you long to be." That includes speaking as if it's already true. So imagine this. You're lying in bed, the room is quiet, the lights are dim. Instead of replaying your worries, "How will I pay this bill? What if I lose my job? What if money runs out?" You take a deep breath and give your subconscious its new command. You whisper, "I release all fear of money. I am safe, I am provided for, and abundance flows to me while I sleep." Those words are gentle, but they are powerful. They soothe the nervous system while planting seeds of security. They replace panic with peace. And peace is the fertile soil where prosperity grows. Another affirmation that Florence gave many of her students was this: "God is my immediate supply. All that is mine by divine right now comes to me under grace in perfect ways." Notice how specific it is. Immediate supply. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. Under grace. Not through struggle, not through dishonesty, but through harmony, fairness, and right action. When you repeat this, you aren't begging. You're declaring. You're speaking law into motion. But here's the key, it's not enough to say the words like a robot. You must feel them. You must speak them with conviction, as though they are already true. Imagine a child asking their parent for dinner. The child doesn't say, "I hope maybe one day I might possibly deserve a meal." No. The child asks boldly, knowing the parent provides. That is the same faith you must bring to your words. Now let's go deeper. Beyond words, Florence believed in using imagination. She called it the scissors of the mind. She said, "Whatever man imagines, sooner or later externalizes." That means the pictures you hold in your mind are blueprints for your reality. So tonight, as you lie down, after speaking your affirmations, I want you to build a scene in your imagination. Picture yourself checking your mailbox and finding a check inside, money you weren't expecting, but desperately needed. See yourself smiling, breathing deeply, feeling relief and gratitude. Or picture yourself at the bank, looking at your balance, and instead of fear, seeing more than enough. Imagine the number you want to see, and feel the joy that would flood your body if it were already real. At first, the mind will resist. It will whisper, "That's impossible. That will never happen." But with practice, the subconscious begins to accept these pictures as truth. And once the subconscious accepts, reality begins to mirror it. One woman, inspired by Shinn's teachings, used to visualize herself receiving a specific amount of money. She didn't know how it would come, but she imagined holding the check, feeling its texture, signing her name on the back, depositing it at the bank. Within months, she received almost the exact amount through an unexpected refund. Was it coincidence? Or was it the subconscious rearranging circumstances to fulfill the picture she had planted? This is the dance between words and imagination. Words are the command. Imagination is the proof. Together, they program the subconscious so deeply that the outer world cannot help but follow. So here's what I want you to do tonight. As you lay in bed, close your eyes and take 3 slow, deep breaths. Release the tension of the day. Whisper with conviction, "I welcome divine abundance. I am provided for in miraculous ways. Money flows to me as I sleep, easily and gracefully." As you say these, picture a scene that matches the words. Feel it in your body. Let gratitude rise as if it has already happened. Fall asleep with that picture as your last thought. Do this consistently. Not once. Not twice. But every night. Because repetition is how the subconscious learns. Remember, your subconscious is not a skeptic. It doesn't argue. It obeys. But it needs repetition, just like soil needs watering. One seed, watered faithfully, becomes a harvest. One affirmation, repeated faithfully, becomes reality. And here's the beautiful part, you don't need to force it. You don't need to stay awake all night straining, wondering how it will come. That's not your job. Your job is simply to speak the word, imagine the scene, and rest. The how is not up to you. Florence used to say, leave the details to infinite intelligence. Think about it, when you order a package online, you don't stay up all night worrying about the delivery truck's route. You trust it will arrive. In the same way, when you send your affirmation and your picture to the subconscious, you must trust the delivery is already on its way. So tonight, as you close your eyes, don't repeat yesterday's story of lack. Write a new story with your words. Create a new picture with your imagination. Plant seeds of abundance. Feel them as real. And then rest, knowing that while you sleep, your subconscious, the most loyal servant you'll ever have, is working tirelessly to bring those seeds into bloom. Because words are not just sounds. They are doors. And tonight, with the right words, you open the door to money, to opportunity, to abundance waiting to enter your life. Here's the truth most people don't want to admit. When you first start affirming abundance, when you first whisper those words before bed, money flows to me, I am provided for, I welcome prosperity, there will be resistance. Not from the universe. Not from some external force trying to block you. The resistance will come from within. It will come from the old stories, the ones you've been repeating for years, sometimes decades. And those stories do not want to die quietly. Have you ever noticed what happens when you declare something bold? Say you stand in front of the mirror and tell yourself, I am wealthy. Almost instantly, a little voice inside whispers, no, you're not. Look at your bills. Look at your bank account. That's the old program talking. That's the subconscious fighting to keep the familiar story alive. Because to the subconscious, even struggle feels safer than change. Florence Scovel Shinn understood this. She said, one's ships come in over a calm sea. And what she meant is this, for your good to arrive, your inner world must calm down. You can't affirm abundance while secretly fueling a storm of doubt inside. The words will clash against the old beliefs until you quiet them down. So how do you overcome resistance? First, by not being surprised when it shows up. Resistance is not a sign that the affirmation is failing. It's proof that the affirmation is working. It's stirring up the old lies, forcing them into the light. Think of it like renovating a house. When you tear down the old wallpaper, It looks messy before it looks beautiful. The mess doesn't mean the renovation failed, it means transformation is underway. Let me tell you a story. A man once came to Florence saying he had been affirming for wealth, but nothing had changed. He repeated, "Money comes to me easily," but his life looked the same. Florence asked him, "What do you say when a bill arrives?" He admitted he would mutter, "I'll never catch up." There it was. He was cancelling his own affirmation with the opposite command. It wasn't that the words didn't work, it was that the weeds of doubt were being watered more than the seeds of faith. Here's what you must remember: the subconscious doesn't measure your words by volume. It measures by feeling. If you say, "I am wealthy," but deep down you're trembling with fear, the subconscious responds more to the fear than to the words. So the key is not just to repeat the affirmation, but to gently quiet the fear that rises. How do you do that? By patience, by practice, and by shifting the way you talk to doubt. Instead of fighting the doubt, "No, no, I don't want to think that." Acknowledge it, then replace it. For example, when you hear the old voice saying, "This will never work," respond softly, "That may have been true before, but now I'm open to something new." When the thought comes, "You can't escape debt," you breathe and reply, "That was the old story. I now plant a new story of freedom." It's like training a stubborn dog. At first, it pulls against the leash. But with repetition, patience, and consistency, the dog learns to follow. Your subconscious is the same. It will resist at first, but if you keep showing it a new command with love and persistence, it will obey. Florence often encouraged her students to use phrases like, "This too shall pass." Why? Because she knew that resistance is temporary. The storm never lasts forever. If you keep steady, the calm returns, and the affirmation begins to bear fruit. Now, let's make it practical. Imagine you're lying in bed, repeating your affirmation, "Wealth flows to me while I sleep." Suddenly, your mind interrupts, "Yeah, right, you've been broke for years." Don't panic. Don't abandon the practice. Instead, smile gently, as if you're speaking to a scared child. Say, "I understand you're afraid. But tonight we're trying something new. Tonight we are planting a new seed." Then repeat the affirmation again, calmly, without desperation. That soft persistence begins to retrain the mind. Think of it like learning a new language. The first time you try to say words in Spanish, or French, or any unfamiliar tongue, it feels awkward. You stumble, you mispronounce. But if you keep practicing, the tongue loosens, the brain adjusts, and suddenly it flows. Affirmations are the language of abundance. At first, it feels unnatural because you've been fluent in the language of lack. But keep practicing. Soon, abundance will feel like your native tongue. Here's another tool: gratitude. Gratitude dissolves resistance faster than almost anything else. When doubt rises, immediately shift to gratitude for what you already have. Maybe it's just a roof over your head. Maybe it's the meal you had today. Maybe it's the breath in your lungs. Gratitude softens the heart, quiets the storm, and tells the subconscious, "We are safe. We are provided for. We are not in lack." From that place, affirmations sink deeper. One woman Florence worked with began every day in fear. She repeated affirmations, but nothing changed. Florence told her, "Begin with gratitude." So each night before sleep, the woman listed 5 things she was thankful for. Then she whispered her affirmation, "Unexpected money flows to me." Within weeks, her anxiety lessened, and soon opportunities arrived: a new job, small windfalls, gifts from friends. The affirmations worked because gratitude cleared the soil. And here's the last key: detach from the how. Resistance often grows when you start obsessing over how the money will come. You repeat, "Money flows to me," but then the mind screams, "Yes, but from where? From who? How can this possibly happen?" The truth is, you don't need to know. Your job is not to micromanage the universe. Your job is to speak the word, believe it, and stay open. Florence said, "Never do today what intuition says to do tomorrow." In other words, don't force, don't push. Trust the timing. So when resistance rises, let it. Don't panic. Recognize it as proof that old stories are breaking. Talk to it gently. Replace it with faith. Water your affirmations with gratitude. And detach from the details. If you do, you'll notice something beautiful. The resistance gets quieter, the affirmations grow louder, and soon your subconscious begins to obey, not out of struggle, but out of alignment. Because resistance isn't the end of the journey. It's the doorway. And if you walk through it, holding fast to your words, you will see money, opportunities, and abundance appear, not because the universe suddenly decided to bless you, but because you finally gave it permission with your words, your faith, and your persistence. Here's the hardest part about affirmations: not starting them, but staying with them. Anyone can whisper an affirmation for one night, maybe two, maybe even a week. But consistency, that's where the real change begins. That's where the subconscious finally says, all right, this is who we are now. But life, as you know, is full of distractions. Bills come in. People criticize you. Old habits whisper louder than your new words. And suddenly, the affirmations you meant to say every night slip away. You forget. You skip one evening, then two. Soon the practice is gone, and you tell yourself, it didn't really work anyway. Florence Scovel Shinn warned against this. She said, one should never use an affirmation unless it is absolutely satisfying to the heart. Why? Because affirmations are not just a routine. They are food for the soul. And just like eating, it's not about one meal, it's about what you do daily. One salad won't make you healthy. One jog won't make you fit. And one affirmation won't reprogram a lifetime of lack. So how do you stay consistent? You build rituals. You weave affirmations into the fabric of your day until they become as natural as brushing your teeth. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't wake up every morning debating whether you should do it. It's automatic. A habit. Affirmations can become the same, but only if you link them to moments already built into your day. Let me give you an example. One man struggled to stay consistent with affirmations. He would forget, get busy, lose track. Then he created a simple rule. Every time he touched money, whether a coin, a bill, or his debit card, he would quietly say, "Money blesses me and multiplies as it circulates." At first, it felt mechanical. But soon, it became automatic. Each time he spent, each time he received, his subconscious was hearing the same command: money blesses me and multiplies. Months later, he realized his relationship with money had shifted. He no longer felt guilt spending. He no longer felt fear when bills arrived. Why? Because his affirmations had become part of his everyday rhythm. Another woman created a bedtime ritual. She placed a sticky note on her pillow that said, "Abundance flows to me." She couldn't lay down at night without seeing it. It reminded her to speak her affirmation before sleep. That tiny reminder turned a fragile idea into a steady practice. Consistency isn't about willpower. It's about structure. The more you build affirmations into daily anchors, the less you'll rely on memory. And once the subconscious hears them often enough, it will repeat them back to you without effort. That's when you know it's working, when your own inner voice begins echoing abundance, not lack. But here's something deeper. Consistency requires emotion. If affirmations feel dry, they'll fade. If they spark feeling, they'll last. Think about a song. Why do we remember lyrics years later, long after we've forgotten phone numbers or math formulas? Because songs stir emotion. They tie words to feeling. Your affirmations must do the same. Don't just say, "Money flows to me." Feel the relief, the joy, the gratitude as if money already has. Close your eyes, smile, breathe it in. That emotional spark is what imprints the affirmation onto the subconscious. Without feeling, it's just empty words. There's another key: community. Florence used to remind her students that spoken word carries power not only within but also outwardly. Find someone you trust, even just one friend, and share affirmations together. Maybe once a week you call each other and declare, "We are both prospering. Doors are opening for us." There is power in agreement. Jesus said, "Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst." When 2 voices speak prosperity, it magnifies the energy. And it keeps you accountable when your own faith wavers. Still, let's be honest, there will be days when you don't feel like it. Days when the affirmations feel foolish. Days when you whisper them but the doubt feels louder. On those days, the temptation is to stop. But that's exactly when you must keep going. Consistency is not built on good days. It's built on the tough ones. The days when you affirm despite the evidence. The nights when you say, money flows to me, even with an empty wallet on the dresser. That persistence sends the strongest signal of all, faith in unseen supply. Florence said, faith knows it has already received and acts accordingly. Consistency, then, is simply faith in action. Each repetition is proof that you believe even when nothing has changed yet, that something is moving. So make it easy for yourself. Anchor affirmations to your day. Write them on mirrors. Save them as reminders on your phone. Repeat them when you wash your hands, when you walk, when you wait in line. Say them out loud, whisper them silently, write them in journals. Surround yourself until they become the background music of your life. Because the truth is, you are already affirming something every day. The question is, what? Are you affirming lack? I can't afford this. Nothing ever works out. I'm stuck. Or are you affirming abundance? I am blessed. Money flows to me in perfect ways. Everything I need arrives on time. You're already speaking seeds into your subconscious. Consistency simply means choosing them with intention. One student of Florence's once asked her, how long should I keep repeating the same affirmation? And Florence answered, until it manifests. And even then, keep repeating, for what you establish in consciousness cannot be taken from you. In other words, affirmations are not just tools to get something once. They are a way of life. A constant alignment. A spiritual hygiene that keeps you in harmony with abundance. So don't treat affirmations like a quick diet that ends once you lose a few pounds. Treat them like daily nourishment. Like food, water, breath. Something your soul needs every day to stay alive in faith. Because the moment you stop feeding the mind with abundance, the weeds of doubt will try to grow back. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It means persistence. Even if you miss a day, return the next. Even if you feel nothing, speak the words anyway. Over time, they will sink deeper, take root, and bear fruit. And one day, without even noticing, you'll realize something extraordinary. Affirmations are no longer something you do. They have become who you are. Abundance will no longer feel like a dream you're chasing. It will feel like the air you breathe. That's the true power of consistency. Not just attracting money once, but reprogramming your entire being to live in a state of provision, flow, and prosperity for the rest of your life. Here's something many people miss. Affirmations rarely begin with fireworks. They don't usually drop a winning lottery ticket into your hand the next morning. Instead, they begin quietly, softly, almost imperceptibly. And if you're not paying attention, you might dismiss the early signs and say, nothing's happening. But something is happening. Always. Florence Scovel Shinn said, intuition is a spiritual faculty, and does not explain, but simply points the way. In the beginning, affirmations awaken your intuition. They shift your perception. They tune your mind into a new frequency. And on that frequency, small signs begin to appear. The danger is, most people overlook them. But those small signs are the whisper of abundance, saying, I'm on my way. So what are these signs? Let me paint a picture. Imagine you've been affirming, unexpected money flows to me under grace. You've said it for a week. At first, nothing changes. But then one day, you're walking down the street and notice a coin glinting on the ground. You pick it up, smile, and maybe even laugh. It's just a coin. But it's also a signal. Your subconscious has begun to open you to receiving. Before, you would have walked past it, too busy, too distracted, too weighed down by lack. But now, something in you noticed. That's not random, it's alignment. Another sign, bills don't sting the same way. Where you used to open an envelope and feel a rush of panic, you now breathe and think, it will be taken care of. You might still not know how. But the fear has loosened its grip. That inner calm is proof your subconscious is shifting. And once fear no longer poisons your relationship with money, solutions begin to appear. Here's a story. One woman Florence taught had been affirming for supply. Weeks passed, And nothing big happened. But she began to notice little things: free coffee offered by a stranger, discounts at stores she never expected, even friends gifting her items she had been wanting but couldn't afford. At first, she brushed them off as coincidence. Then Florence told her, "Don't despise the day of small things. These are tokens. The larger supply follows when you recognize the smaller ones with gratitude." Sure enough, within months, she received a business opportunity that transformed her finances. The little signs were the opening act. Another sign is repetition. You'll start hearing or seeing phrases connected to abundance everywhere: on billboards, in conversations, in books you accidentally stumble upon. Someone at work casually mentions a side hustle that fits your skills. You overhear a conversation about money flowing. You see the word prosperity pop up again and again. That's not coincidence. That's your subconscious saying, "I'm listening. I'm searching. I'm aligning." You'll also notice people treating you differently. A friend offers to cover your meal. A colleague remembers to recommend you for a bonus. Opportunities arrive where before there were none. Why? Because your energy has changed. You no longer radiate desperation, but expectation. People can feel that, even if they don't consciously understand it. And the world responds in kind. Sometimes the signs appear as obstacles clearing. Maybe a debt suddenly gets cancelled. Maybe something you thought would be expensive ends up costing less. Florence once told the story of a woman who needed money for a train ticket. She affirmed, "Infinite Spirit, open the way." The next morning, she found that the fare had been unexpectedly reduced. It wasn't money appearing out of nowhere. It was the need dissolving. That too is abundance. You might even dream differently. Dreams of receiving, of opening doors, of discovering treasure. The subconscious speaks in symbols, and as affirmations sink in, those symbols shift. Where once you dreamed of loss, you may now dream of discovery. Pay attention. Even your sleep begins to reveal that the soil is changing. And here's a big one: your own self-talk. The moment you catch yourself saying, "I can't afford this," and immediately correcting it with, "No, I'm open to ways this can happen," that's proof the subconscious is reprogramming. You don't even need to remind yourself. The correction rises automatically. That is transformation at work. I remember someone telling me they affirmed daily, but they weren't seeing results. I asked them, "Tell me about your week." They sighed, "Well, my car insurance got reduced unexpectedly. My friend gifted me groceries. And my boss gave me extra hours. But I'm still waiting for real money." Do you see it? They were missing the signs. The affirmations were working, but because they expected a bag of cash to drop from the sky, they overlooked the river of blessings already flowing. The signs will always start small. A cancelled bill. A discount. A refund you'd forgotten. A friend's unexpected generosity. A sudden inner calm. And if you celebrate those small shifts with gratitude, the larger manifestations follow. Gratitude is the magnifier. What you bless increases. So the next time you find a coin on the ground, don't shrug. Pick it up, hold it, and say, "This is proof. Money flows to me." The next time someone covers your coffee, whisper, "Thank you, Spirit. This too is abundance." The next time fear shows up a little weaker than before, smile and think, "I'm winning." Because you are. Affirmations are not a one-time lightning strike. They are a sunrise. At first, just a faint glow on the horizon. Easy to miss if you're impatient. But if you keep watching, the light grows brighter, the world grows clearer, and soon you're standing in full daylight, wondering how you ever doubted. That's how it happens. Slowly. Quietly. Then all at once. The signs are already there, you just need eyes to see them, gratitude to bless them, and faith to keep going until the big breakthrough arrives. We've journeyed together through the power of words, through the whispers of the subconscious, through the quiet signs that money and abundance are already knocking at the door of your life. And now, I want you to imagine this moment as a turning point. Because it is. Think about it. Every breakthrough in history began with a word. The universe itself was spoken into being. Nations are built and torn down by words. Relationships are healed or destroyed by words. And your financial destiny is no different. The words you release tonight will echo into tomorrow. They will paint the canvas of your future. They will carve the path for money to find its way to you. Florence Scovel Shinn said, "Your word is your wand." Just pause for a moment and let that sink in. Not your job. Not your bank account. Not your degree. Your word. Tonight, when you speak, you are not begging. You are not hoping. You are declaring. You are creating. You are calling forth what already belongs to you. So let me ask you, what do you want to appear in your life? Is it freedom from debt? Is it the thrill of seeing your bank balance rise instead of shrink? Is it the peace of knowing that no matter what, you are always provided for? Whatever it is, it begins with your word. And tonight, you will speak it into existence. I want you to picture this. You close your eyes before sleep, and you say, "I am open to unexpected money. I am a magnet for prosperity. Wealth flows to me under grace, in perfect ways." You say it slowly. You say it with conviction. You say it as if you already believe it. And then you sleep, letting those words sink like seeds into the soil of your subconscious. And just like seeds, they don't sprout instantly. But they will sprout. First, with tiny green shoots, the small signs. And then, one day, a full harvest so abundant, you'll wonder why you ever doubted. And here's the beauty, you don't need to figure out how. The how is not your job. Your job is to speak, to trust, to believe, to notice the signs and celebrate them, to keep watering the seed with gratitude, even when you can't see what's happening underground. Because something is happening. Always. So tonight, when your head touches the pillow, I want you to remember this moment. Remember this feeling. And with every word you speak, remind yourself, I am not a victim of chance. I am the author of my financial story. And tonight, I choose abundance. Say it with me now, loudly if you can, or quietly in your heart. I am a magnet for money. I am open to miracles. Wealth flows to me now, under grace, in perfect ways. And tomorrow, when the signs appear, a coin, a discount, a gift, an opportunity, you will know. You will smile. You will whisper, "It's working." Because it is. It always has been. It always will be. So speak it tonight. Believe it tonight. And watch, just watch, how money begins to appear instantly, not by accident, but because your word made it so. And so tonight, I ask you to make a choice. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Tonight. Because tonight is the only night you truly have. You can lie down with the same old words, the same old fears, the same old seeds of lack, or you can step into a new story. A story where your words are not whispers of worry but declarations of power. Say it tonight. Believe it tonight. Trust it tonight. Because every night you wait, you push abundance further away. Every night you choose fear, you delay the miracle that is already searching for you. But every night you choose faith, you open the door wider for money, opportunities, and blessings to rush in. So I'll ask you again, what words will you plant tonight? What future will you call into being with the sound of your voice? Say it with me once more. I am open to unexpected money. I am a magnet for prosperity. Wealth flows to me now, under grace, in perfect ways. Feel the weight of those words. Feel the truth in them. Feel how your future shifts the moment they leave your lips. Say it tonight. Watch it tomorrow. Live it forever. Because money does not come from chance. It comes from choice. And your choice begins with your word.